Hi, and welcome to another product walkthrough video of RightsWATCH. Let us now see how easy it is for RightsWATCH to enhance your SharePoint security experience. Logging into SharePoint as an admin, you will go into the admin interface and go into the RightsWATCH SharePoint add-in administration. You can then choose to apply a default behavior to every single file that gets uploaded into the specific libraries inside this SharePoint site. You can do nothing, block the files when they are being uploaded, or classify them automatically when they are uploaded. You can choose the default classification to be applied. In this case, you can choose from the classification policy according to your company what classification should be applied to those files, and you can choose which files will be applied with that classification. If you leave it blank, it will apply to Words, Excels, PowerPoints, and PDFs, or you can specify amongst these which are the ones that will be applied. Then further down, you can even specify for specific documents libraries a default behavior that is not the same as for every single other library inside that SharePoint site. In this case, we will have the documents library and the product management library. And for the documents, you will be choosing to be applying confidential, and for product management, we are choosing to apply secret. Switching over to a user in this case, we will see how those policies are being applied. So logging in as Paul Brown, we will now be drafting a PowerPoint presentation that will then be uploaded into the documents library inside that very same SharePoint site. So producing or drafting a PowerPoint presentation, let's call it product architecture, and saving it into the desktop. Notice that Paul Brown has the RightsWATCH interface, so he can classify files as public, internal, confidential, and secret, and the policy would be applied if it had a policy being defined by the sysadmin. In this case, we are classifying this file as public inside the desktop, so that you can notice that whenever Paul uploads in this case a PowerPoint presentation into this documents library, the RightsWATCH classification and protection will be automatically applied. So it does not need Paul to apply that classification. We will now switch to John Doe. John Doe is another user inside this environment, and we will see how the policies, in this case in the particular PowerPoint presentation, are applied to John Doe whenever John tries to, in this case, download a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. Remember, Paul Brown, the only thing he did was uploaded PowerPoint presentation that was public by definition. Just because it was added into the documents library, RightsWATCH automatically classifies the file according to the policy that was defined by this SharePoint administrator. John Doe cannot copy, nor can he print, nor export, nor does he have full control over this PowerPoint presentation. Why? Because under the RMS usage and access rights that are applied to this PowerPoint presentation, Paul Brown is still the owner and still has full control over this file. John Doe will now produce two documents. One is a Word document and another one is a PDF copy of that Word document. We will be uploading these two documents into SharePoint, starting with the Word document, uploading it into the product management folder. You can see that John Doe does not have a RightsWATCH interface, so he does not have the policy classification scheme. So think of John Doe as an external user that does not belong to the same company as Paul Brown, but needs to have access to the SharePoint site in order to collaborate and to share information with Paul Brown. So John has uploaded the Word document and is now uploading the PDF or saving a PDF file so that that PDF file can be then uploaded into the SharePoint site. Switching in to the SharePoint interface, John Doe is now going to see and browse the product management folder library. And you can see that as soon as John Doe tries to get access and have access to that product requirements, so the very same document that he has uploaded into that same folder, you can see that something has happened to that Word file. Headers, watermarks, footers, dynamic classification was automatically applied, dynamic watermarking was automatically applied based on the RightsWATCH policy. Now, John Doe does have full control because he remains the owner, although he was not the one that was applying the classification nor the RMS policy, because it was him that was uploading the file into the Sharepoint library. John Doe remains the owner, and the RightsWATCH plugin will honor that feature. So we now have a PDF and a Word document into that library. Switching on to Paul Brown again, just to give you an insight on what can Paul Brown do inside that library. So as logged in as Paul Brown, let's go into that library, the product management. Let's get access to the PDF. Remember, John Doe produced a PDF and uploaded it into that specific library. Downloading a copy of these PDF, you can now see that Paul Brown will have access to it according to corporate policy. So it still has the words, the headers, the footers, the classification that needs to have according to corporate policy. And under permissions, Paul Brown does not have full control over this information because it's still John Doe that owns this information. Paul Brown can use the Foxit PDF reader to render this RMS encrypted PDF file, or he can still open it with the Microsoft Sharing app to render the protected PDF files. So because RightsWATCH will create a protected PDF, a PPDF file with when encrypting these file types, you can use and leverage the Sharing app as a render, as a viewer for protected PDF files.